This is a special weekend edition of Live from My Office. My friend Carol Debo is one of the finest acting teachers anywhere. And she is still doing it now online, of course, like everybody else. Virtual learning. There's some in-person stuff. But at any rate, I'm going to be teaching a voiceover class for her. So this is a chance for Carol and I to catch up and a blatant plug. If you've ever been interested in voiceover, I hope you'll join us. First class is coming up in just a few days. Details enclosed in what you're about to hear. Carol Debo joins me on a special edition of Live from My Office. You know, I've said it many times, I'm blessed in this life to have so many great friends. One of my best is, listen, I've said it before, I'll say it again. You don't say no to Carol. As a matter of fact, when I write a book about you, that's going to be the title.
You're going to write a book about me?
Yeah, and it's going to be You Don't Say No to Carol, The Life of Carol Debo and Why I Didn't Say No.
Wow.
Because you are powerful. You're your own weather system. You just don't say no to you.
Can we just stop this right now? I'm ready. I'm just going to take my coffee and call it a day now.
How are things at the ATC? And explain what the ATC is.
So the Actors Training Center is fine after quite the pivot. The Actors Training Center, I started it in, Steve, it's been like 14 years.
Yep.
And I just felt there was a need to train young actors to what the industry needed, not just to how to act or how to sing. But nobody was really explaining how the industry worked. So that was my idea. And I remember Oprah saying, if you see an opening or an idea that somebody's not selling, do it. And we did. And here we are 14 years later. Then we had our friend COVID visit. And we managed to pivot. Yeah, it was great. Good times.
But you've been able to make this virtual in a way that the students don't lose a step, and you're still able to teach it without losing your mind.
We did it. And, I have to say, teaching online, I teach an on-camera class with a friend of mine who lives in L.A. She's a casting director. And we kind of dig it because we both can teach together, and we don't really watch the kids, right? Because they're right there in front of us.
Right.
So that's working. And then in the summer, we always do a summer musical, and it goes up in a theater in Edgewater, which we couldn't do. So we found a board member with a couple acres of a backyard, and we rehearsed it there, and the costume designers wove in masks, and then we filmed it. And
cool.
We showed it at a drive-in. That's how we premiered it. And then we're going to premiere it again on Webinar Jam. And we have really found, for creatives, we really had to hit our creative brain cells, and we figured it out. I'm really proud of us.
Well,
really
and people, and you should be, and people, I think, need to understand this isn't just about the kids you've sent on to Hollywood who've had tremendous success. This is about self-confidence. This is about maybe finding your way into a program in college. This is about everything we know that's beneficial of exploring the arts and your creative side. Not every kid is a jock. Not every kid is not a theater person. They need to be encouraged to do it. And that's one of the great things about what you do, I think.
Yeah, I think the other thing that I'm very proud of with the Actors Training Center is that it's a safe place. So very often high school theater programs are very, very competitive. And we just leave that at the door. And it's a very safe place, and there's no competition. It's about the art, and it's about exploring who you are. And the biggest thing is impressing upon these young actors that they are enough. What they bring to the script, what they bring to the song, who they are, is who the industry wants to see.
Right.
Don't imitate anybody. And to give power to that voice, whether they become actors, musicians, dancers, dentists, you're right. That is what it's about. So we have a lot of kids that come through here, never pursue it as a career, but they will come back and say that it changed their life as far as knowing who they are. So it's a win-win for everybody.
That's kind of a big picture question, but you are a news nut like I am, and we keep hearing people say, well, we're never going back to office life. We're never going back to this or that. We're all going to Zoom forever. I personally don't buy any of that. You'll remember in the 90s when the internet first exploded, we were never going to leave the house again. People need contact. They need that face-to-face situation, whether it's in the office or wherever. And one of the things I know about acting is you have to do scene work with other people face-to-face. How have you been able to get around that? How have you been able to teach without that face-to-face contact?
Well, honestly, we have had some. We have our studio. We have had to cut our class sizes in half. We have the floor marked out. We have a door that opens to the street. So our first couple weeks for some of our classes were in the studio, masked and socially distanced with the front door open. And they knew that the first 4 weeks we would be in person. It was tough because we couldn't bring in as many kids as we wanted. And now they'll move online. Once you're online, it takes a really skilled teacher to build an ensemble, make sure you get to know each other. So
Sure.
I taught the first class of this 4-week class with my casting director friend. It was just me and 14 kids on Zoom. And I was very careful about the opening exercise so that we had to listen to each other. We had to spit back what the other one had said. And by the end of the class, everybody was very happy. It takes a different skill set. And not one person can take over.
Right.
You constantly have to be bringing in the student. What did you think of that? Can somebody give a comment? It's not easy. It's not ideal. But what we're finding is when we first had to go virtual, classes were not filling because everybody thought, oh, I'll wait till this is over.
Right.
And now people are realizing, oh, hold on, it's not over. And I'm missing working on a script. I am missing interacting with actors. And because we now know we're in for a much longer haul, people are calling and our adult classes are filling and people were waiting, to be honest. And now nobody's waiting anymore. And we're doing classes we've never done before, like voiceover classes. And I'm, making my friends jump into the deep end with me.
Look at you. Look at you segueing into the plug. I got one other question for you, though.
Right.
All the people you talk to in Chicago and New York and Hollywood all the time, you network with and you work with, does Zoom become a platform that sticks? Is this going to be a performance platform going forward, regardless of what happens with COVID?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
I don't think so. I do think that there will be some PTSD when theater opens up again. I think it's going to take a very, very long time to feel comfortable sitting in a theater next to somebody or somebody you don't know sneezing, behind you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I think that it will slowly go away. What I do think is that Zoom will be incredibly important still for meetings, because we are so isolated and
Yep.
I love working. I'm alone in my office right now. And, I've had 3 meetings and I insist that they're on Zoom because people love working at home. I think as far as business, yes. For theater and art, absolutely not.
Yeah, I come from stand-up and we've done a couple of Zoom projects and my take has always been it's good for now. It allows you to do it for now, but it can't be the long-term solution.
It is good for now, but it is not the long-term solution because when we go see you do stand-up, which I've done many times, or I go to the theater or to a concert, or we go to a movie, one of the reasons that people still liked going to the movies before this was being part of something bigger than your living room, bigger than something of yourself, and taking the energy from an audience. And you cannot get that on Zoom. I think we're being incredibly patient, but we're going to lose a lot of actors. We're going to lose a lot of people who work on crew. There are no jobs right now.
Having said
it's
that,
very hard.
Yeah. Now, having said that, Zoom is a great way to teach because in some ways it's very personal in ways that you can't have face to face as well. So you have asked me, and I've agreed because you can't say no to Carol, to teach a voiceover.
You can't say no to Carol. Plenty of people do.
I don't know about that. You have asked me to teach a voiceover class, which I'm happily doing, and it's filled up very fast. I think we only have a couple of slots left, right?
Yeah, we only have about 4 spots left, which is pretty fast.
So how do people sign up for this extravaganza?
They can go to our website, which is actorstrainingscenter.org, and you click on programs, workshops, and then you see your handsome face with Breaking into Voiceover with radio legend Steve Cochran. I will say the one thing that COVID has forced us to do is reach out beyond our community. So I have a young comedian who is also a client of mine in my management company who's teaching a comedy class to kids. And we open up our demographic in our social media marketing to anywhere. So it's, in that way, it brings people together, and we're getting kids from Florida and all over to take it. As I think, I haven't checked your demographic, but anybody can take a class, and I can have a teacher from anywhere teach.
That's very cool.
That is cool. I mean, it's a couple upsides to COVID, right? I don't get my nails done anymore. Let my hair grow out, and we have opened up our demographic at the Actors Training Center. So, yeah, I mean, you can reach us at 847-251-8710. And you can look at other classes or, Radio Legend.
Plenty of cool things to sign up for there at the website, actorstrainingscenter.org, right?
Yeah.
And before I let you go, I should mention this too. I've talked to many of my friends in the business, and they're going to happily come on as guests. There's a guy that does cartoon voices in L.A.
Amazing.
There's one of the best impressionists in the country who does a phenomenal Trump impression, and he's getting a lot of commercial work. And the best radio commercial guy I know will also be on with us, and of course you will. So, because you're going to have to come in.
Of course I will. Well,
anyway,
I'll be that person on Zoom with the camera off, just like spying on you. But I do want to say before we go and I'm not joking, how grateful I am, one, to have you as a friend, and two, to have you doing this. I mean, it's really astounding what you do and the career that you've built. And I think it's incredibly educational for people to see how you do it and what goes on behind the mic.
Very nice of you to say, and I appreciate it, and love you, and sign up, kids.
Get on. There's only a couple spots left. Step right up.
All right, I know somebody's waiting for you to teach them, so I'm going to let you go. It's a great Carol Debo. You can't say no to her, and sign up for the class. Thank you, Carol.
We'll speak soon. Bye, Steve.
Thanks for listening. Go to actorstrainingscenter.org or just follow me on social media, and we'll make sure you're connected. Hope to see you at the big voiceover class, or just take any of the classes that Carol Debo has to offer. See you next week on Live from My Office.
Thank you for listening to Live from My Office, a service of Monkey Run Productions. All rights reserved. The podcast is hosted by Steve Cochran, and it's mixed, edited, and produced by me, Ross Cochran. Support the show by subscribing wherever you're listening and by telling your friends about it. Follow Steve on all social media channels, including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And make sure you check out this episode's show notes for relevant information discussed during the conversations. You can also email the show directly at thecochranshow@gmail.com with any questions or comments, and that's the best place to tell us about your favorite nonprofit so we can make sure we mention them on the next episode. Steve is available for corporate speaking gigs. He would love to MC your event, and occasionally, he's funny. Thank you for listening. Head to cochranshow.com for more.